one of the things that I like about Emerge, and we'll talk a little bit, I don't want to be too much of an infomercial here, but I'll just throw this out there. Let's just say I'm a shipper, and I'll give it me. I'll use me as the example. Uh, I'm a shipper, and I need to do that freight procurement. So I say, okay, I got, let's just say 15 carriers that I work with, and now it's time to do my, let's just say, 100 shipments a week. And I say, I need to do an RFP because rates have changed. The rates have come down. I'm going to do an RFP, do it once a year. I put all my lanes into an Excel spreadsheet, dump them out of my TMS. And then I have a list of the carriers I work with, but I need to market test them. So I got all these cards from I got cards from everybody and their brother. I've collected those. I put all those in an email and I send them my lanes and say, quote, and maybe I say I'm going to have a Zoom call so I can educate you about, you and everybody else about what I'm doing. And most of those emails bounce. And a lot of other people kind of go, oh, thanks a lot. I'm not interested in working this way, right? A lot of them went to info at XYZ Carrier, right? Others went to Bob Smith, who left the company last month, right? So I send people who are carriers from, the West Coast, my East Coast lanes. It's just there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's a clunky process that I will say shippers hate. They don't feel particularly good about it. Carriers are now increasingly saying, I got bid fatigue. I don't want to play this way anymore. And I will say this: I worked at a carrier for a short time. I remember the first time somebody sent me a list of like thousands of lanes. I was like, I was dancing around my house. I thought I was gonna be rich. And then I talked to the guy at the carriers, my carrier ops team. They're like, well, we're interested in, and they sorted it real quick, about 7 of these lanes. I was like, whoa, what? Wait, I thought we'd do all of them. Right? Nope. But
Ugh.
after a while, you start to realize if there's not backhauls behind it, if you don't feel they're serious, sometimes the first thought I had was, are you just market testing your current carriers? Like, do you care at all about me? Because you didn't call me. You just sent me an email with, all these lanes. And at some point, I get lanes back, but I think vetting's a problem for that, right? I'm trying to figure out who's who. Am I switching from my existing carrier that I like and trust for $18 savings with somebody I've never heard of? Or do I go to my existing carrier and say, knock your rates down $25 and you can keep that lane? None of it feels right to me. And I know more and more companies, as we get more sophisticated, are saying we can go out and buy. I think there's systems I can buy. I think Jagger is one of them. They're expensive, right? And I can tie that to my TMS and pay them a lot of money, but they're not made for freight.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's been very eye opening.
So it's a bad so that's a bad process, and I think a lot of shippers live that bad process. Now, now tell me why I should use Emerge for that process.
It's very eye opening how many shippers are still using that exact process you just laid out.
If you're managing your supply chain with Excel spreadsheets, it's time to upgrade.
Absolutely. And upgrade with technology that is solely built for freight, not every commodity.
So what would that process look like if I moved over to Emerge?
So we
First off, what are you going to charge me?
so we're not going to charge you anything. Um,
That's a good start.
that's a good start. We are going to walk you through the entire process until you feel comfortable with the technology. We're not going to drop the technology on you and walk away. We are going to partner with you throughout it until you feel comfortable using the technology, and then it's so intuitive and so effective that you can then use it on your own daily if you wanted to. We will vet carriers for you and put them in our marketplace. You can use them. You don't have to use them. We've got 30,000 carriers that we can vet.
Well, so I want to bring my existing carriers with.
You can definitely do that.
So I bring over my 15 carriers, and I want to. So now I use you guys for that RFP RFP. It's so that software is meant for that, right? So I add all my carriers, and then I add all my lanes, and presto bingo, they get hit with please quote.
For the most part, that's true. Um, you can definitely invite your 15 incumbents. What I would encourage you to do is open up your viewfinder to carriers that normally wouldn't have access to your freight. You don't have to use them, but Joe, you will tell me here are the qualifications that I require. The take all of these qualifications and vet your carriers, and we'll funnel those down to 15 or 20 that really make sense geographically, qualification wise, service wise, and they'll be in our marketplace. You can then use them if you want in the
So
bidding
so
process.
I so I can say I want to quote my lanes with my existing carriers, but then you guys say, hey Joe, here's 20 other carriers who are interested in that lane. I can at least look at those prices, and maybe I'm enticed, and I say, look, these are already vetted companies too.
Exactly.